Okay, so today we're going to look at the inquisitorial system. Unit 4, Area Study 2 sets out that you need to know the inquisitorial system, and you need to be able to compare the inquisitorial system with the adversary system. The key skill for this part of the study design is to compare the operation and features of the adversary system with the inquisitorial system. Just a general overview of the inquisitorial system. It's generally used in parts of Europe and also in Asia. It's where the court is actively involved in conducting the trial, determining the facts, and finding the truth. So it compares to the adversary system where the sides battle to win the case in the adversary system, and therefore the truth should emerge. In the inquisitorial system, they actively seek out the truth. It's based on the idea that the effective operation of the legal system is of benefit to the society as a whole, and that it's the responsibility of the state to ensure that all relevant information is examined and that the truth is reached. Now you can compare this with the adversary system where the rights of the individual is the key thing, and that we need to ensure that parties get a fair and unbiased hearing. That's not really the case in the inquisitorial system. The pursuit of truth is really the main focus. Okay, so we're going to go through the same features of the inquisitorial system that we looked at for the adversary system. So the role of the parties, the role of the judge, the rules of evidence and procedure, the burden and standard of proof, and the need for legal representation. Firstly, the role of the parties in the inquisitorial system. They have a greatly reduced role in comparison to the adversary system. They're really just required to respond to the directions of the court. There's no such thing as party control. They don't have control of their own case in the inquisitorial system. That reduces inequity between the parties if there's a financial imbalance. But it does place control of the case with a third party. The judge in the inquisitorial system, on the other hand, has a much more active role. So they're involved in investigating the case. They define the issues that need to be resolved. They gather evidence with the police, or they can direct the police to go and find more evidence if they need. Their objective is really to find the truth of the matter. So they're able to call and question witnesses as they see fit, and they can raise other matters of law or fact as necessary. And they really have wide-ranging powers to investigate the case and to find out the truth. Legal representatives in the inquisitorial system have a much lesser role in comparison to the adversary system. Their job really is to assist the judge to find out the truth. So they can help with questioning of witnesses, at the direction of the judge. Burden and standard of proof in the inquisitorial system, or in comparison to the adversary system, there is no formal burden or standard of proof. It's really just up to the judge to decide whether the case has been proven or not. So they're responsible for bringing the evidence. They're responsible for finding out the truth of the matter. The pursuit of truth is the main objective, and it's just up to the judge to decide whether or what that truth is. In terms of rules of evidence and procedure in the inquisitorial system, there's much less reliance on strict rules of evidence and procedure in comparison to the adversary system. So hearsay and improperly obtained evidence is admissible if the judge decides that it's relevant. There's extensive use of written evidence, as opposed to mainly oral evidence used in the adversary system. And witnesses are allowed to tell their story when they're called to testify. They don't have to respond to specific questions as they do in the adversary system. Some of the advantages of the inquisitorial system include that the decision maker takes a far more active role, so all available evidence is considered. The judge decides which evidence is valid, but really the pursuit of truth is the main objective. However, this means that the judge loses the advantage of independence. They can be influenced by outside issues, such as past record of the defendant is known in criminal cases, and personal biases can lead to an unfair result. Secondly, there's less reliance on legal representation. That's an advantage because it reduces the cost for the parties, which is important if one party is poorly represented. It greatly reduces the problems of financial inequities in the adversary system. However, parties lose the advantage of party control in the adversary system, so they may feel at the mercy of the judge as they're not able to control their own case. There's also a greater use of written statements in the inquisitorial system. That's an advantage because it reduces the costs of proceedings as it's quicker than oral evidence. It also increases the ability to achieve timely resolution. However, written statements deny parties the opportunity to test evidence via cross-examination, as they'd be able to in the adversary system. Okay, for example, with the role of the judge, you begin by identifying the feature. So just say one feature of the adversary system is the role of the judge. Then outline the feature by saying, in the adversary system, the judge is independent and impartial. They ensure both parties receive a fair hearing. And then compare it with the inquisitorial system by saying, however, in the inquisitorial system, the judge plays a more active role. They may call and question witnesses and may raise other matters of law or fact. The judge's aim is to uncover the truth of the matter. For the role of the parties, you could just start by identifying the feature in the adversary system. So one feature of the adversary system is party control. Then you outline it by saying, in the adversary system, each party controls their own case. They decide what evidence to present and whether to engage legal representation. And then you compare with the inquisitorial system and just say, however, in the inquisitorial system, parties have a greatly reduced role. They are required to merely respond to the directions of the court. This reduces inequity between parties, but places control of their case with a third party. For legal representation, again, just identify the feature. One feature of the adversary system is the need for legal representation. You outline that feature by saying, legal representation ensures the parties are able to present their best case as they are familiar with the rules of evidence and procedure. This assists in achieving a just outcome. And then compare it by saying, however, in the inquisitorial system, legal representation have a lesser role. They assist the judge to find out the truth, which may include further questioning of witnesses. For burden and standard of proof, you can first identify the feature. One feature of the adversary system is the burden and standard of proof. Outline it by saying, this ensures the party bringing the case has to prove it to the required standard, and then compare with the inquisitorial system. However, in the inquisitorial system, there is no formal burden or standard of proof. The judge is responsible for bringing evidence, and the pursuit of truth is the main objective. And finally, for rules of evidence and procedure, again, identify the feature. One feature of the adversary system is the strict rules of evidence and procedure. Outline it by saying they aim to keep the contest fair and ensure the truth should emerge through questioning, and then compare it and say, however, in the inquisitorial system, there are no strict rules of evidence and procedure. The judge determines what evidence is permissible and witnesses are allowed to tell their stories rather than respond to questioning. And that's it.